So, kitchen vlog part 2, as you can tell from the cabinets. And this time, you might notice a little upgrade in picture quality. That's because my wallet is crying right now. So there's that. But for the amount of time that I was putting into framing things this morning, I thought I might as well get a real camera, you know? So that's this. Here, I set up the shop, but I might as well show you what camera we're dealing with. It's a Sony A5000 is what it is. It's not the latest and greatest, but it's really good for its price. And what it does well. So, hey, you know what? Fry pan, let's get it. So, today I want to talk about Kanye West. You know, Kanye, a little bit of a controversial figure, that guy. He's not really known for, how do you say, being the most easy to understand and presenting the most cogent arguments on any point that is known to man, you know. He's kind of all over the place. That's kind of what he does. And let's talk about his creative process, because really that's all that interests me about people, creators that are not me, are their creative process, right? So today I'm making some, it's like a light snack, just some sausage and some eggs, and I'm eating some stir fry and falafel. I haven't eaten all day, so I'm kind of going crazy with this. I can't really see if it focused, but I'm assuming it did. Okay, so yeah, so there's that, and sausage and eggs. So what I wanted to talk about Kanye today was, like, he just put out his latest album like last week, I think. It's called Ye, right? Which is really not anything new for him. You might as well say it's a self-titled album, because that's effectively what it is. And he's done Yeezus before. He's done The Life of Pablo before, and he's not really known for his album covers, right? And his approach to this album really like kind of highlights what is the problem with the way he's been looking at things. Because it's not really a well put together way to approach things, I think, which he proved himself. Because like 2 days after he dropped this album, his album Ye, he drops Kid See Ghost with Kid Cudi, right? That's like the collab album they made together, and that album is super spicy. That album is real good. I like that album from the first listen all the way through to the last listen that I had. I've listened to it a bunch. The album artwork on that is so well thought out. It's made by the same artist who made the album cover for Kanye's Graduation, which is like an iconic piece of art now. So there's that. On one hand, there's that, and then there's the shit that Kanye pulls for his own albums, which he seemingly does not give a fuck about, because Daytona, he killed it on Daytona. Daytona is so well produced, fucking insane. You Know, it's like my favorite song off that album. Just it gets stuck in my head, and then the beat is insane in the background. The production is crazy. Clearly, there's been a lot of time put into it, right? But actually, Pusha T was supposed to release a completely different album called King Push, which he never ended up releasing for some reason. And that album is this, apparently. Pusha T has confirmed that King Push is Daytona. And with the whole controversy about the album art for that. So on one hand, like the first album that Good Music put out this summer is Daytona. And there's been a lot of time that went into that, even though they had to rework it over the past year. And it's 7 tracks, as usual, for all these projects. And for the Nas one that's coming later this week, I think. 7 tracks, short, 21-minute album. So's Ye, so's Kid See Ghost. So then what's the difference here? The difference is Daytona, he puts thought into like every single aspect of that album. He puts thought into the verse, the fucking production, even the album art, right? Because Pusha T had a completely different album art planned out. And Kanye came in and he went like, yeah, Push, no. Bro, this is Surgical Summer or whatever the fuck. We're not doing that. Here, $85K, go get yourself Whitney Houston's suicide bathroom or overdose bathroom. Go get yourself that, right? Now, think what you may about that album artwork. The point is, clearly he put a lot of thought into that. More thought than he put into his own album art, which apparently he took on the way to the album listening party, which was the night before or a day before the album actually launched, which is crazy, right? You're leaving your album art to like the last 36 hours of the creative cycle. And according to like references he makes in the verses on Ye and people behind the scenes talking about it, apparently he made the whole album in like 2 weeks. And it's good, don't get me wrong, it is good, but and I know some people hate on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, just Fantano I guess, not really anybody else, but I don't think it reaches the peaks of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I don't think so. Like, I don't think he's trying to do that either. He's going for a completely different thing. But there wasn't any point on Ye where I like grabbed my head and went like, oh shit, this is crazy, like I did on Runaway when I first listened to it on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like, it's a completely different level. It's a whole different Kanye, and maybe it's just me because I like that Kanye better than this Kanye, and I should get my act together and learn to recognize that Kanye is still a creative genius. By the way, that's like the new buzzword for Kanye is creative genius. Like whatever he does, you just have to call him a creative genius. Like, he made those Yeezy 350 wave runners that look like complete garbage. Creative genius. Anything he does, creative genius. So the thing that he's been doing over the past 2 albums, which is Life of Pablo and Ye, is he's trying to like capture lightning in a bottle, right? He has this like this one feeling, and Kendrick Lamar talked about this on an interview that he did, where he talks about how when he writes a verse, he might get the inspiration for it when he's on tour or something like that, and he has this process where he bottles it up and like preserves that feeling, that feeling of inspiration that he had to write that verse that he first had. And then he writes the verse then, and then he records it, he like digs it back up so that when he records it, he can get that feeling that he wanted to get when he wrote the verse, right? But then Kanye is like the exact opposite. Kanye like thinks of a thing, does the thing, makes a song. But he does that over like a 2-week stretch, makes 7 songs, and then he has an album ready. But for some reason, he only does that for himself. For other people, he does the exact opposite, because Kids See Ghosts, you can tell on every track in that, there's been a lot of time put in, right? All the uncredited vocal artists in the background, the Kurt Cobain sample must have taken like months to clear, because it's crazy. You can't just get a Kurt Cobain sample like that. And the 1936 Louis Prima sample, like, I don't think it would have been the hardest thing to clear, because it's not the most well-known sample in the world, but that probably took a long time to clear. So clearly there's been a lot of thought put into this, right? It's not like the past 2 album covers that he's had where he just puts two pictures in paint and goes which one. Like, there's more thought to it than that. So this is the thing that I've been asking myself, right? And it's a thing that I can kind of expand into what I do, which is writing. So when you're writing, there's 2 distinct types of writing that you can do, right? You can do, there's like two levels to this. So the first level is you can do different lengths. You can do short fiction versus novels, right? And the novels are like the best-selling, most commercially accepted, the ones that the publishing houses actually look for type of work. And then you have short fiction. And writers fucking love short fiction. At least most writers do. Some people exclusively write novels. There are those people as well. But a lot of people love short fiction, because with short fiction you can have an idea, you can flesh that idea out, you can reach the logical conclusion of that idea, and you can move on to the next idea, which is always an attractive concept, because you don't have to if you have a novel, right, you need to have a lot of stuff. You need to have a lot of there for you to have an actual length of work that's substantial enough that it constitutes a novel both in word count and so it doesn't feel stretched. Because this has happened a lot with people who make short films and then expand that concept out to a feature film, and I don't think that's the best way to do it, but that's like a topic for a whole different video. But the point is, like, you have these 2 different lengths, right? There are people who prefer this and there are people who prefer that, or there are people who prefer the short fiction but do the novel anyway just because it's more commercially viable. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that, but it also happens on a different level. I kind of forgot what the other level was, but I'm gonna go with this. I think it. Oh, I just remembered. And there's also like you can execute on one idea quickly, or you can take an idea and like flesh it out and like really add some weight to it, or you can go that route, right? So if you're doing this route, you're putting a lot of work into one thing. You're putting like months of work into finishing one thing, and at the end you have one finished product, and that product could be any length of thing. Like if you actually like go really deep into any one thing that you're doing, any one idea that you have, you're gonna end up spending a lot of time on it, and at the end you'll only have this one product to show for it. But like Kanye, what he does now, because he's already done this in the past, he's done the My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which is just like all incorporated like orchestra versions of the hip-hop songs, like just completely crazy, over-the-top production, classical orchestra production, like what you wouldn't expect from a hip-hop album. He's already done that. So he's like completely switched over to this this method of creating, right? Because he's like, on Life of Pablo, he like clobbered together that album just before release was due, and fucking the track list was fucked up. Wolves, the mixing was fucked up when he put it on Spotify, and then he fixed it like a week later, and then he like fixed the album over the course of a year to the point where Fantano had to do like a whole nother review on it, right? So he eventually had to put a lot of work into it, but the idea which he captured lightning in a bottle, I think that's his purpose right now. Because he's done the same thing with Ye. Like the album cover is like him writing in paint on a picture that he took at the launch party for the album. Right? That's like getting your book cover from the first reading that you did, from a picture of the crowd or whatever. Like I don't, and Wyoming is a beautiful place, so it's not like the album cover sucked. The album cover is beautiful, and I live in British Columbia, so I can definitely appreciate some natural beauty, right? Definitely appreciate that, but it didn't have the same oomph, the same impact as seeing Kids See Ghost, as seeing that album cover, and then you're like, holy shit, this is really cool, first of all. And then you just think of all the thought that went into it, why they selected this particular piece. And Kanye's out here like doing the opposite. He's acting completely on instinct. And I don't really know what to say, whether that's worse or better. I don't think there's a worse or better. But it is different. And it just popped into my head, and I thought I had to like explain that. I don't really know why. I kind of related to what I was doing, not really, but it's just interesting to me, that's all. Anyway, subscribe. Bye.